You know that feeling? You meet someone, chat, everything's fine, and then maybe 5 minutes later, poof, their name just completely gone.
Oh, absolutely. Vanished. It's that slightly awkward moment we've all
It's
experienced.
so awkward. But it tells you something interesting about how our brains work, or sometimes don't quite work the way we want them to.
Right. It's that fascinating, sometimes really frustrating glitch in our memory retrieval system.
And today we're actually going to dissect a perfect little example of this. We found a clip. It's from the English Podcast Zone on YouTube,
Yep.
from an episode focused on English learning conversations, episode 10, I think. And it's got this short interaction between two people, Nick and Anna. They meet again, and
Right.
well, it's a little bit stumbly.
Ah, the classic re-encounter fumble. But yeah, looking closely at these brief moments can tell us a lot.
Exactly. It's not just about laughing at the awkwardness, though maybe a little bit.
Sure.
But it's about seeing how we handle these social bumps, how memory plays into it, and how we use language to smooth things over, or maybe sometimes make it worse.
Yeah, language is key there.
Uh-huh.
So we're trying to pull out some useful bits about communication, memory, all hidden in this, everyday kind of situation.
That's the mission, extracting those nuggets. Okay, so let's set the scene. Nick's in his neighborhood. He bumps into Anna. Now, the key thing is they have met before.
Right, at a conference. They talked about foreign investment, apparently, so there's prior context.
There is, but Nick kicks things off with, "Oh, hey, what are you doing in this neighborhood? Do you live around here?" Which kind of signals what?
Well, it suggests he doesn't immediately place her, doesn't it? It's a bit general, like he's feeling things out. Doesn't sound like strong recognition.
Yeah, like cast him a wide net.
Yeah.
But Anna's reply, it's much more specific. She mentions her office is right around the corner.
And she brings up the conference meeting. Even remembers the topic, foreign investment.
So she clearly remembers him and the whole context.
Right.
Big difference.
Definitely. That creates a slight imbalance right away, doesn't it? One person remembers the others. Well, drawing a blank, it seems. It sets up the main event, so to speak.
The awkward bit, yeah. But it also shows how differently we process and store that kind of social info.
So the conversation moves towards maybe connecting again.
Right. Nick says he's in a bit of a hurry. We'll come back to that phrase, but he still offers his business card.
The classic move. Wants to keep the door open.
And he asks if she still has his contact details, which the original source helpfully defines as, name, phone, email, the basics for staying in touch.
It's interesting, that sort of polite, almost professional preamble before the,
A moment of truth.
before the slightly more personal stumble.
And here it comes. Nick kind of hesitates and then says, "You know what? This is really embarrassing, but your name has just slipped my mind. Can you remind me?" Oh, the dread. We've all felt that.
Slipped my mind. Such a good phrase for it, isn't it? That feeling of it being right there, but just
Yeah.
gone. And the Source podcast gives examples like forgetting to reply to an email or someone's birthday. It happens. It's this unintentional forgetting. Why do you think names are so prone to slipping like that?
Oh, that's a good question. Maybe because names often feel a bit arbitrary, like they're just labels not always connected to something visual or meaningful about the person initially.
That's a really good point. It's not like remembering, say, what you talked about or where you met. A name is just this piece of data you have to actively file away and then find again.
Yeah. And then Anna's reaction is just perfect. She's so smooth.
What did she say?
She goes, "Sure, my name is Anna Ferris. Don't worry about it. It happens to me all the time. I'm terrible with names, too." Textbook grace.
Oh, that's brilliant. Don't worry about it. Immediately lowers the pressure.
Right. Takes the heat off.
Right.
But the masterstroke is adding, "I'm terrible with names, too." Why is that so effective, do you think? That shared flaw.
Well, it's that instant common ground, isn't it? It validates Nick's experience, makes him feel less like he messed up and more like, oh, okay, this is a normal human thing. It builds connection instead of, awkwardness.
Yeah, it completely shifts the dynamic. Suddenly they're on the same team against tricky memories.
Exactly. So let's dig into some of the language here, because the original podcast highlights some useful bits. Nick's phrase, in a bit of a hurry.
Right. It's polite code for, "I don't have much time," basically. You're moving quickly, need to keep things brief.
More gentle than just I'm busy or gotta go.
Yeah. The podcast gave examples like, "Can you drive faster? I'm in a bit of a hurry." Or using it to cut short a chat politely. It's good for managing time without being rude.
A useful social tool. And then contact details seem simple, but spelling out that it means name, phone, email, all that stuff, Just reinforces why it's important professionally and personally.
Hmm. And we already touched on slipped my mind, that softer way to say you forgot. Not like you chose to forget, it just happened.
Right, the unintentional aspect is key. Now, the podcast also looks at how these phrases fit together. Like, around here, Nick asks, do you live around here? It's just a casual way to ask about location, proximity.
Yeah, like asking, is there a good coffee shop around here? Very natural.
And they mention the variations too, like right around the corner, meaning super close, maybe the next street.
Or around there, referring to a place you just mentioned. Those little nuances make your English sound, well, less like a textbook.
Exactly. It's about the context
Mm.
and those subtle shifts in meaning. And another key one was terrible with, like Anna saying, I'm terrible with names.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one. Terrible with numbers, terrible with
Terrible
directions.
with faces, yeah. It
Oh,
shows it's a versatile way to admit you consistently struggle with something.
that's
Like
really
it
good.
kind of normalizes not being perfect at everything.
It really does. Makes you more relatable, I think. Hey, I struggle too. Disarming.
Hmm. Then they had a fluency builder bit focusing on how's it going?
Ah, the classic greeting.
Yeah, they point out that, well, how are you or how are you doing or fine, how's it going?
Yeah.
Often just sounds a bit more, natural and casual.
Especially with people you know or in less formal situations. It's just easy.
Right. It's that everyday language that helps you connect more easily. And then the hosts of that podcast, Marco and Erica, actually share their own stories.
Oh, yeah, the personal anecdotes. Marco told one about forgetting a family member's name at a reunion.
Ouch. That's peak awkwardness right there. We've all maybe not done that, but felt the fear of it.
Definitely. And his solution was classic, too subtly ask another relative. A quiet aside, hey, who's that again?
The standard workaround. And Erica shared tips for business settings, like asking for a business card.
Or asking them to jot down their email. Clever ways to get the name without directly asking, sorry, what was your name again?
Yeah, face-saving techniques,
Oh.
especially useful professionally where you might want to appear, on the ball. It's about getting the info without highlighting the forgetting part.
It's a subtle art, which really brings us back to Anna's reaction. That grace, finding the common ground, is just so important.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Her empathy, saying, don't worry, and then sharing her own weakness, I'm terrible with names too. It just completely changes the energy of the moment.
Turns potential embarrassment into a little bonding moment almost.
Exactly. It shows how responding with understanding rather than, say, judgment or surprise makes interactions feel more human, less like a test you might fail.
Totally. And then just to wrap up the content from the source, they did a really good review of all the vocabulary.
That's always helpful.
Yeah, recapping things like, how's it going around here in a bit of a hurry, contact details slipped my mind. Terrible with.
And a few others like acquaintance, in a rush, forgetful, recognize.
And they gave example sentences for each one, showing how you'd actually use them, which is super practical for learners, but honestly a good reminder for anyone.
For sure. Seeing them in context makes a big difference.
So, okay, let's try and pull this all together. What are the big takeaways from this dive into Nick and Anna's slightly awkward moment?
Well, first I'd say forgetting names, super common. It really is a universal human thing, so don't beat yourself up about it.
Good advice. Second, how you react really, really matters.
Absolutely. Grace, empathy, finding that common ground like Anna did that can turn a negative into a neutral or even a positive connection.
Yeah. And third, we picked up some genuinely useful everyday English phrases.
Things like, in a bit of a hurry, slipped my mind.
Yeah.
Terrible with. These are practical tools for navigating conversations politely and effectively.
Totally usable stuff. And you can see how this whole scenario, the language, the social dynamics, it's relevant all the time. Networking, parties, just bumping into someone.
Even native speakers blank on names constantly. It's not just a learner issue.
So true. Okay, so here's something to think about, maybe for you listening. We talked about Anna's great response and asking for business cards. But in this world where we meet so many people, what other subtle tricks do we use?
Yeah, those unspoken strategies to maybe jog our own memory or just skate over the awkwardness when a detail escapes us. Is there like a hidden art to the graceful save beyond just admitting you forgot?
That's a good one. An art to the graceful save. Something to ponder. Maybe you have your own techniques. Worth reflecting on those little social dances we all do.